A CNN crew shooting these images of National Guard troops arriving at the local police station in Ferguson.
Yes, Mussouri's governor says the violence Monday was, quote, unacceptable, and says the forces will provide better support for local law enforcement tonight. The chaos began after the announcement that Wilson would not face criminal charges for Brown's death. Police say at least 21 fires were started and at least 61 people arrested.
Yeah, numerous local businesses were looted or set on fire at 21 fires, apparently by one count, as this anger and frustration spilled out onto the streets. And it is on the streets we find our Sara Sidner joining us live from Ferguson. You were really in the thick of it last night, Sara. I'm sure you can deal with it with all your experience in various war zones, but it must have felt like one.
It certainly looked like one, and from the gunfire, it sounded a bit like one. I want to give you an idea of the scene now. A lot of folks were asking us, where's the National Guard? Today, we certainly saw them out in force. This is the first time we've seen them out really in the public view, standing at the Ferguson Police Department. Instead of the police command that was here, you're seeing the National Guard dressed in riot gear. But things are extremely calm now. Let me show you where the largest protest was last night. It was here. There were, more than 1,000 people out here, and now you see about 15 people. And I want to take you for a little walk, guys, if you have the time, just down the street. Basically, what you're seeing here, the Ferguson Police Department on your left. You see some of the media that's gathered from around the world on your right. And every single night, that's where the protesters have been, just across the street from the police department. And we've seen this going, Michael and Lynda, for so many months now. I've been here for 2+ months watching these protests every single night for more than 100 days. You see this restaurant here called Vincenzo's, Italian restaurant. It is now boarded up. A little bit of it is boarded up. That has not been boarded up for much of the time that I've been here. Gives you some idea. There was tear gas filling these streets last night. But I want to show you Kathy's Kitchen. Kathy's Kitchen is one of the staples here. A lot of people love coming here. Doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter who you are, they always treat you very nicely. And what we saw last night here was that the windows were bashed out, but people locked arms here. They locked arms and they kept anyone from coming in to that business. And what you're seeing here is the remnants of what happened last night. Yes, you see a board on that window. The others were also boarded up, but you were also seeing people protect some of these businesses. This gentleman has been here trying to make a living and trying to make the people of Ferguson happy with really great food, and it's really frustrating for a lot of the residents and business owners to see what was done to places like this. Lynda and Michael.
And Sara, Ferguson will now forever be known because of this story and this issue. What are residents today telling you about the chaos from last night and how they're coping today?
It depends on who you talk to. We talked to a young man whose father is a pastor here. He was standing out and looking at some of the destruction on West Florissant, where we were last night, where much of the burning and looting happened, and we watched that happen. And he was just disgusted, in a word. He was disappointed. He was frustrated. He said, look, we come out and we need these businesses to be here, and now this destruction is here. But we also talked to someone who said, this is a message from many of the young people here who did get involved. They want their voices heard. But there are, of course, people saying, if you want your voices heard, use your voice, not rocks, not bricks, and not firearms.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, it is. Sara, appreciate all your reporting. Another long night ahead for you, perhaps, hopefully not quite as eventful as last night. Sara Sidner on the spot for us there.
Now, the US president says he understands the frustrations felt by people in Ferguson, but insists violence is never the answer.
Barack Obama, he said that he and the US Attorney General, Eric Holder, are going to be launching a series of regional meetings across the country to discuss the sometimes strained relationship between police and various minority groups. Now, while he says he knows there is deep-rooted mistrust, destroying property and putting people at risk are criminal acts, and he says there's no excuse for it.
And to those who think that what happened in Ferguson is an excuse for violence, I do not have any sympathy for that. I have no sympathy at all for destroying your own communities.
And the outgoing US Attorney General spoke earlier as he convened a meeting on the situation in Ferguson. Eric Holder, the first African-American Attorney General, said the Justice Department is carrying out a thorough investigation into the shooting that sparked that anger.
He also condemned the violence, of course, and urged the protesters to remain calm.
I was disappointed that some members of the community resorted to violence rather than respecting what I thought were the really heartfelt words of Michael Brown Sr. And the wishes that he expressed about how he wanted his son's memory to be honored with nonviolence. It is clear, I think, that acts of violence threaten to drown out those who have legitimate voices, legitimate demonstrators, and those acts of violence cannot and will not be condoned.